Hi, Stephen. Thanks for joining us this morning for this interview with the Chamber. I hope you're keeping well. For those of you that don't know Stephen, this is Stephen Miller from the Laois Today. He is well-known figure and face in the Laois community. So I let Stephen introduce his business and give us a bit of background as to how he came to be in this particular business.
Yeah, thanks, Bernie, and thanks very much for having us. So I own the Laois Today local news website, so it's exclusively online. It's a local news outlet, exclusively online. My background is I would have studied journalism in DCU straight away out of school, and then worked in the Leinster Express newspaper originally, and in the Limerick Leader newspaper. But I was working there 10, 12 years between the two, maybe 5, 6 years in both places. And I was ambitious to move up the sort of the scales. And I was finding that opportunities were limited. Newspapers, the opportunities were nearly contracting rather than growing. Sales were falling. And I was wondering, where does it go with this? And I was always on the likes of the journal.ie, agriland.ie, the 42.ie, all these online sites. And literally sitting at home one evening, it came to me and said, you know what? There's nothing like this locally. And literally swiping from one thing to the next on the iPad. And I said, I could do a local version of this. And from there, I think I said it to my wife, Emily, the next day. At this stage, I was driving up and down to Limerick, and I'd been there 5 years and had gone for different jobs and hadn't got them and that. And Emily said to me next day, that's a great idea. And from there, so William, our son, was only a year old at the time. And it was a sort of an awkward time to do it. But I said, if I don't do it now, it's going to be more difficult further down the line, let's say. So I spent about the guts of 6 to 9 months sort of working on it in the background. And I handed in my notice. That was about Easter time. Handed in my notice in Limerick in about September, October time. Finished the 1st of November in Limerick. And my plan was always to go live with Laois Today on the 1st of February 2017. We got live with it on the 7th of February, so we weren't too far off. So we're only 3 years in business. So Laois Today, I'm sure a lot of people are probably familiar with it now. It's a free local news service. So so it's free to everybody to use. Our entire revenue stream comes from advertising. And we've built that up slowly over the last couple of years, and it was picking up the whole time. This current situation then is completely, our best customers were hotels and car dealers nearly, and the hotels were the first to close, and car dealers and that probably weren't far after it. And then we'd rely a lot on retail. We get a huge amount of job advertising, so they'd be one-off ads with different companies, and we get a lot of return customers. But there's not too many businesses hiring at the moment. We were getting a couple of job ads every single week prior to. So we have our team consisted of myself, obviously as owner, our main reporter Alan Hartnett. We had a part-time salesperson, Naomi Toohey. My sister Julianne had been working with us up until Christmas as a photographer, but had left. She's gone traveling to Australia, and then we had another reporter's role as well. But that had finished sort of before this all broke out, and we hadn't replaced the person we had in that role. So we were sort of, maybe lucky a little bit in that sense. That wasn't coronavirus related, but the sales role obviously had to go. And then a lot of people your audience on Laois Chamber will be familiar with John Whelan, who's former senator and former newspaper editor in the Leinster Express. John was a regular freelance and strong in politics. So a lot of those roles, we don't have those roles at the moment anyway. They had to finish up. So it's just myself and it's just Alan at the moment, and we are availing of the wage subsidy scheme for the 3 months, which I think is a great support. And yeah, we've revenue it hasn't disappeared, but it has collapsed. And there is still bits and pieces coming into us. It hasn't been an absolute disaster. It's not great by any means, but it's look, it's been like everyone else. It could be far worse. And we're lucky enough in that we're deemed an essential service. So I am allowed to go into the office to work. And even that is it's a blessing, because the amount of people who have to work from home and who have to manage juggling children and home life and that. And I'm lucky enough that I do get into the office and I am able to maintain a routine as well as possible.
Yeah, and in terms of, you mentioned you're availing of the wage subsidy scheme. I think most businesses are, to be honest. Have you availed of any other government incentives, say,
that's
the local enterprise office? Yeah.
Yeah, we are in touch with the local enterprise office. There's a great I would have been looking previously at getting an online store put onto our site. Like we wouldn't sell a huge amount of stuff of our own. So we would have sold our books previously. We sold like some of our merchandise, hats, mugs, this type of thing at Christmas time. And it was literally people coming into the office, and I'd looked at getting an online shop developed, and the cost of it at the time didn't really justify by it. But there's now a 90% support in place with the local enterprise office, which is brilliant, and it means that I'm going to be able to get that up and running at a very small cost to me.
Yeah, and
it's
it's great now that you're nearly forced into doing something that you've been thinking about. So it's a great opportunity. So in terms of managing your cash flow, in terms of like your costs, your expenses versus your income, you've been able to kind of juggle with that and make it work a bit better for you.
Yeah, like it hasn't been easy or anything. Like we operate a lot on credit, so a lot of our customers get 30 days credit, and we've had some council clients, and we got a small bit of government business from the Department of the Taoiseach, in terms of some of their advertising in relation to HSE notices and that. In terms of, so we would operate credit terms, and so for the first month it was all right. Like we had February's sort of business coming in, and it gave us we had a little bit of time then to get our house in order in terms of applying for the wage subsidy scheme, renegotiating. We were lucky, we were clients in the Portlaoise Enterprise Centre, and they had a system that you could apply to have your rent reduced, so we did that, and we got that. We got breaks on certain things, and then some of our natural costs that we would have when we were operating. So we obviously we covering everything, like we were covering matches, meetings. St. Patrick's Day was the first thing that we would have probably had to use 10 or 11 different photographers on St. Patrick's Day to cover all the events off. So that cost was gone out of it altogether. Like graphic design is something that we use quite a lot of, and again, because the volume of ads coming into us was down, we were able to get that cost out for the moment, and then we take on that job ourselves, or it comes into us ready. So it's been a juggling act, but
I suppose if you've been able to contract to ensure survival, it's all about survival for the rest of this year, really, isn't it?
Like I don't think there are too many businesses that can be making very, very profitable at this stage. Survival is completely the name of the game. It's the same for all competitors, national, local, international. All people in our space are in the exact same situation. So just have to try and, from the early stages, I was of the view like that this isn't going to go away quickly. So really rash decisions, try and avoid them as best as possible. And even coming up with, like, it has changed our approach to stories. Everything has been different. So we tried to continue as well as possible in the early days and for the early weeks and that, and then to allow us think how we're going to manage it going forward. So look, it's been tough. It has been tough, but it's, survival, and if it takes 6-9 months, that you just bide your time, put your costs on. The supports from the government have been good, and obviously your personal costs are down. It's it's just to balance it as well as you can,
And we were chatting there earlier about some opportunities and pieces that you were thinking about, before, but now you're really kind of pulling those back out and getting them going. Do you want to tell us a bit about those?
Yeah, so podcasting is a huge sort of growth area in media. So people can listen to podcasts that really interest them, their niche topics, and we've been exploring that over the last while, but doing it with the most basic equipment possible, literally recording podcasts off our phones, using basic intros and all of that, which we're able to do in our own time in the office. So now you can't obviously have people in to record podcasts in our space. So we've sort of moved towards recording them over Skype or over Zoom. And we're making the plunge to sort of to purchase our own good sort of podcast equipment. It's a little bit of an investment, but we have to do it if we want to explore that space. And we're really excited about it, like really looking forward to it. And it's going to give it's a couple of things. It'll allow us to really sort of move more into that area. and it'll also allow for greater efficiencies with us, because we can all of a sudden have three people on a podcast about a particular topic that previously would have had to be done in 3 phone calls, so it's looking forward to that. We've also, like, we would always have great content ideas for the site that we mightn't have time to do in the old sort of rat race where you're on a constant treadmill, whereas now everything else has stopped. Like, everything that we would have previously been covering has stopped. So we're off that one now, and we're allowing us to do sort of more timeless stories, and that we'll be delighted to have. We can possibly even reuse those again down the line, and podcasts are a huge area, and like, there's great scope in that regard for us. So like it has been an opportunity in that regard for us to a little bit of housekeeping.
Businesses have been forced to search for opportunities, and it's forcing the acceleration of ideas that might have been just in your head. They're coming to fruition. But in terms, you mentioned you're an essential service. Do you see, when do you see your staff coming back into the office, or is it's going to change the way you're working and your staff?
Yeah, like it will, because like we're not going to be able to afford the same overheads that we had previously. We have to try and keep the level. We have to try and keep the level of service up as well as possible. But with the resources, you'll have to. Our expectations will have to be measured a little bit better. But we will be more efficient. I do see it a long time before normal life resumes in terms of a busy schedule of matches and meetings are what take us out of the office quite a lot. So I'd see it as a long time before they are back as normal previously. My main reporter, Alan, like he's working exceptionally well from home. So I'm in no rush to get him back into the office on a 5-day-a-week basis, because working remotely is something we were able to do anyway. It wasn't a shock to us to have to work from home in that sense. So like Alan, simple thing, Alan himself has asthma, and he's not keen on being out and about, and I won't be keen on rushing him back. Like we won't have the same staffing level as we had previously for a while anyway. So rushing staff back into an office, like we've unfortunately, I took a second office. We're in the Portlaoise Enterprise Centre in Clonminham, and there's a whole lot of other individual businesses there, and Patricia Frayne is the manager of it. And the office beside us came available. We were operating in one office, and the office beside us came available just before Christmas. I was always looking for an extra space for myself so that I could have my own space to work in away from the rest of the team. So we took that office before Christmas. So we're only in it about a month when everything changed. But it's unlikely that we will maintain 2 offices going forward. That will be a change in that regard. We could do our job from anywhere nearly, but we will. It is good to have a base. But I don't. To us, if we never got back to having people in the office, we'd be able to manage it.
And in terms of, you mentioned there that you've much less meetings and running around to matches. Has your work-life balance improved, do you think, during this, as a upside possibly?
Absolutely, 100% has. Like. I have 2 small children. William was only 5 last week, and Lillian is 2.5. And my big concern is that he's due to start primary school in September, so he'll be back to normal. That's really the only timeline that I've always had in my mind, that if things are back in September for the start. But he's loving it. They're in great form, because we're at home more often than we were previously. We're outside playing football regularly. He's loving it. They are loving it. And my point of view is that I'm always, my wife Emily, one thing she really hates in this business is replays. So matches are a draw and they go to a replay. So she can manage the fixtures that she knows are going to be done on Saturday or Sunday. But it's when these replays come on Wednesday or Thursday, look. Again, it's nearly unusual for me personally to be back working a normal 9 to 5 day. So it's in that side it has been a positive, all right. But having said that, things are beginning to. There are a few bits and pieces beginning to happen again. Like I got a coffee out of Kelly Lou's this morning. And it's unusual, but it's pleasant and go in. tonight, today's Friday, tonight Laois GA are back with their monthly county board draws, and they've been given clearance to hold them in very small setting, and they asked us to go and film them live. So like when I got that call the other day, I was absolutely delighted to be able to go about to do it. But you're on about family time, like I suppose everybody sees Laois Today online, they have the app, they see us on social media. We're quite out there, let's say, but we're a family business and a small family business at the end of the day. And I suppose it's sometimes, people we're maybe perceived to be bigger than we are in a larger scale thing, and we're not. We're upper. So like we are a small family business. We're the only locally owned media business in this region, and we have got huge support over time from different businesses around Laois, and we're very appreciative of the business that we have got at this time from other businesses. And I won't name them obviously because I definitely leave out some of them, but we are very much in touch with the community across sort of sporting, business, all of that, and like I think sometimes we're perceived as bigger than we are. A small family business at times, and we try and maintain the highest possible standards. But no, look, we hopefully we'll manage through this, and hopefully we'll even maybe benefit from it, and that not like that we'll benefit from the way that we'll improve how we do things, and we'll refine certain things, and hopefully that will work for us down the line.
Okay, yeah, this is certainly a time of reflection and taking stock, both from business and family perspective, I think. And look, it was great talking to you today, and best of luck with your podcast series. Looking forward to seeing how that pans out. And it's great to see you still so active. I have the app myself, so I'm keeping up to date with what's going on in Laois. And stay safe, and hoping to see you soon.
Thanks very much, Bernie. For the Zoom. I'm very enjoying those. You haven't mentioned your own chamber ones, and I'm looking forward to Brent Pope next week.
Oh, yeah.
Won't be a place on that one if there's capacity.
Yeah, well, look, to be honest, it's unlimited. We're not putting a cap on it. The local enterprise office have come on board with that, and really looking forward to it. And I think he's relevant at this time, and I think people relate to him. So looking forward to that. So we'll see you on the Zoom call on Wednesday at 12. Thanks, Stephen. Thank you.